in the heat, the hot, oppressive crush of heavy air, sticky coconut sweat, and lungs longing for relief, I lean my naked back against the cool skin of alder, feel the green, filtered sunlight against my eyelids, drink the shade like it's morning dew, and say, thank the world for you. Let us remember that trees unthinkingly save us before we think of them at all. We were first together. I lived in Holland, and I have we were writing. He lived in Victoria, and I'm like, well, we're never going to need to have a computer in our house, fully knowing he was studying computer science at the time. And I'm like, computers are just not a thing. I'm not having them in my house.
That went into the I'm not sure what to do with that statement category.
So I guess we're kind of doing a computer art now. Yeah. We definitely have a few computers in our home.
I mean, the whole thing in the computer part of it is, in fact, just, in a box. But it's something I think it would be very hard to, and a lot of work to make the same thing without a computer. I mean, technically, I guess you could chart that all out in paper, but it's a lot of work. And this way, you can make so much of it that you really see patterns within patterns within patterns, and that I think that really helps you be able to see it. And even if the end result ends up on a wall in paper, that doesn't really change that.
Which is a little bit like the whole what you can do with, in my case, Instagram, is also kind of how I came to it, because I wanted to document everything. Instagram is squares, that's why it's squares, but basically I just wanted a same size and shape image for every couple days in the year, and so I could document it. You see, I've always thought that it would be really great to make his calendar into an agenda or something that people use, and so every day is one page. But then I think we should have the background be a color that goes through the year, because I associate certain colors with certain months, and I think other people do too, like the bright greens of April and the darker greens of March, and then you're getting into yellows with May. And as I thought about it, it's almost our classic rainbow that we actually experience from what we see in the wilderness over the course of a year. And so if I put all those just photos that I just take, and I'm not going for a specific color, but if I just take photos every week, a bunch of days in the week throughout a year, what will it look like? And now on Instagram you can scroll through and see the whole color gradients go by, which is super cool to me.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, Markus's part of it has been mostly at the computer, of course, but then I'm making complete use of the dining room table and the whole dining room. I have a studio, but it's completely full of all the boxes from the last show, and I didn't want to go up and down all the time to do all my little bits of the dress I'm working on and all the little paper cutting. So basically I moved production into the dining room. And
it makes sense, because then I can go make my change or whatever, adjust things a little bit on the computer part, and come and show it to you and tell me what you think.
It's true. We work a lot better, I guess, in connection when I'm in the house, and he's also working his actual day job. Meanwhile, and I'm going, wait a minute, I don't like the data I got from this place. Help, what are we going to do? So-and-so didn't update their rain gauge. And,
Well, it is a collaboration on many levels, isn't it? I mean, between what you guys have worked on from the beginning, starting years and years ago with you, Markus, and your graphing and measuring and making the family calendars, and Emily with your wild foraging and wild everything. Yes. And just life on the farm and all of that, you know, and then of course the your own philosophies behind life and nature and health and wellness and home and coming from home as your last theme into this this bigger.
I was thinking I shouldn't mention that. We don't want to get too broad.
This you know, it's micro and macro though, right?
Yeah, that's true. We've been wanting it to be like in a gallery or at some kind of a room where you could walk in and actually see the whole year go around you forever. Okay, not forever, for a decade or two at least.
It's a long time.
Yeah. I guess I grew up here in this actual house, not this chicken house, but anyway.
The house behind the chicken coop.
Yeah. And I really, really, really value where I come from. Not just, you know, the climate, but everything about it. Just the community, the kind of smallness, the connection to the land and all the animals and all the plants and everything. And you also grew up in Victoria, but in kind of similar circumstances.
5 different acres, but basically the same thing, yeah.
5 different acres, yeah. This is our current workspace, and this is kind of how I personally began the project. Well, this is the culmination of it. I and my son documented kind of our natural, mostly indigenous but not entirely, surroundings, natural surroundings over the course of 2022, sort of one solar year. So it was from the winter solstice 2021 to winter solstice 2022, and then I put it. Oh, and I wrote poems approximately 3 or so times a week that had usually to do with either the ecological events of the time or political events, sometimes community or whatever. And then over the course of the year, I put each of those poems on one of the photos from that time, and I actually put them on Instagram first so people could kind of scroll through and see how the colors and, you know, ecological events changed over the course of the year. And there it is in book form. So the show basically brings together the photos from this book. The book will also be available to read in the gallery, and also people can buy it if they want. But we're printing a bunch of the photos, so those will be hung around the gallery. Not all of them, of course, it's a little much, but some of our favorites, about approximately 5 per month from that year. And then under the photos comes Markus's work, which is his seasonal cycles graph, which shows the sun cycles and the moon cycles and the tide cycles throughout every single day of that year. So it'll be 365 of these individual squares, and these here show the temperature from the morning low and the afternoon high of each day. So this is the stack of paper that is going to become all of those temperatures, and you can see it basically will create kind of a whole rainbow around the gallery as it goes from the freezing months through the warm months and back to the freezing months. And the dark and light of each day also change. So this is a piece of July, and this is a bit of, I think it was January. Yeah, this is January. And so you can see in January, the sun is a very small little thing, and the tides are completely different than they were over here. Very low in the night and very low in the day over in July. The dark time was much bigger, the light time is much bigger in July, obviously. So you'll be able to see those things both from afar and up close if you like walk up, which is very exciting to me. And then underneath that, like the cycles graph, will be a community mural. So basically just a lot of colorful pens and a white paper going around the whole gallery. And we hope that people will document their experience of that same year. So at any point in the year, you can see a snapshot of, you know, some photos of our ecology with the seasonal cycles and stuff that was going on for people, whether they want to draw or write or just put colors or whatever. And then in the middle of the gallery, there's going to be this dress, which I'm still working on, but hopefully will be finished soon. And it also goes from, so it's winter at the back of the dress, and then it goes around through spring, summer, and then fall and back to winter. Just of all plants and ecological happenings in our area. So this will be on display in the middle of the gallery with like a place for people to sit and read and listen, because I have a soundscape, which is kind of sounds of our ecology mixed with me reading the poems. So over about 2.5 hours, I think it is, you actually could experience a whole cycle of the year while sitting around in the gallery, which I think is super cool, with all the sounds of, you know, the geese in the spring and the geese in the winter and some swans in the winter, and just all like the sounds that I think we know intrinsically without necessarily always saying, you know, oh, this is a winter wind or this is a summer wind. You know, I think we know that. So I'm really excited to kind of see how it pulls together. And that's basically it. Road tripping in my childhood was awash with insects, squashed in every contortion on the windshield, off sprayed liberally, and now they come and go. No dense flocks of grasshoppers, no clouds of mosquitoes. The no-see-ums don't pile in drifts on morning windows, portending the collapse of life. But the sun shines on the bees' glassy wings, flowers reach out, have nectar collected, pollen sequestered, a grasshopper sits silent on a bed of brilliant petals. One day we'll be gone, and the sun will shine on, and the bees will fly, and great swarms of insects fill the sky, and life will carry on.